Hi, I'm Marlon Melander, Fleet Operations Supervisor for Agronomy Equipment at Southern States. My responsibilities are to maintain, make buying decisions, and spec out the equipment that goes onto our fleet or into our fleet for applying crop protection products and fertilizer, lime, and other items. Over the past year, at a new position for me, we are looking at increasing the amount of electronics that we're using in the systems. We are also using more telemetry. Currently, we have 4 different telemetry items that we're using. We're using the Ag Command from AGCO for the AGCO machines, which does a very good job of monitoring where the machines are and the use and efficiency of those machines. We also have JD Link on our John Deere equipment, which also does a very good job monitoring our equipment. The JD Link has an added advantage in that it allows us to do wireless data transfer of as-applied and prescription maps back and forth from the machines to the office. We also are using Raven Slingshot for some of the machines that are set up with Raven equipment or Raven controllers. That also is used for the wireless data transfer back and forth to the office. And then lastly, we have another product that we're using on non-telemetry equipped products that don't come from an OEM. That's a product called Network Fleet. It's a product made by Verizon. That system does a very good job on tracking machines, allows us to monitor the usage patterns of the machines, and to do calculations of efficiency and how those machines are being used in the field. The one big thing right now is both the JD Link and the Slingshot. They're big advantages on the wireless data transfer. That's a huge thing for us. It allows us to make changes in a prescription. If all of a sudden there's a change in prescription that the grower or the agronomist decides he needs to tweak it a little bit, we can send it out wirelessly to the machine rather than having to transfer a USB thumb drive to the machine and do it that way. Which is a big plus for us. The other part is it allows us to bring back the as-applied information. That can allow us then to analyze a machine as far as how well it's operating in the field, how close it's keeping to the prescription rate as far as the rate that's actually being applied. And then that as-applied map can also be given to the grower because they sometimes are doing their own agronomy background work, I guess you want to call it that. And so they want to know how the application was done in the field as well. Yeah, we're very interested in some of the items. Ag Command is a nice product that we're using that allows us to track the efficiency of the machines. I actually get a weekly report from all the machines that are set up with Ag Command that tells me the usage of that machine. It's allowed me to find machines that are putting on a lot more hours in transport mode than they should be when they should be working in a field, which gives me an indication that they're traveling a lot between jobs. It also allows us to track idle time. That idle time can sometimes relate back to an inefficiency on tendering the loads out to the machines. So they're waiting for product to apply to the field, and that's very unproductive time, both from the standpoint of the machine and also from the employee. So those are the types of things we're really starting to monitor more and understand our usage patterns of the equipment. It also allows us to do a little bit more in the way of fleet optimization. So we can now look at if we have an area that's only putting 200 or 300 hours on a machine per year, and we got another area that's putting 1,200, well, maybe we need to somehow move those around so we can even out that usage pattern. Or get another machine for the area that's using that high amount of usage for that area. We have what we call a very blended fleet. We have all of the OEMs from John Deere, Case, AGCO. We have some GVMs. We have a lot of truck spreaders, so those are on a lot of different truck chassis with dry boxes on the back of them. And we're also seeing some of the smaller players or the lower OEMs coming into the mix too. We're seeing some of those come in. So we have a very blended fleet, and that's where it makes it difficult from our side in that we deal with a lot of different controllers because of the AGCO and the Case machines. We're usually getting Raven systems in those, the GVMs as well. On the John Deere side, of course, it's going to be Green Star exclusively, so we have to deal with the Green Star system. That also makes it difficult from the precision ag side because they now have to make prescription maps that are compatible with each of those and know which one they're sending those maps out to. It's gotten a little bit better now that there's shapefile conversion programs and different things, so we can do it that way. But it's still a little bit of a headache, and that's the downside of having a blended fleet. We're still trying to work our way through that and climb that mountain. It's getting much better. We have a number of machines that do not have wireless data transfer, so we're looking at adding some aftermarket systems. We're looking at one of them is a John Deere system that uses a USB. It's our new mobile wireless data transfer. Has some interest, and we may be trying some of that out. We also have some other systems we're trying out as well to see how they work in the field and how they would allow us to automate that part. Because right now the big thing is automation for us, so we don't have to worry about somebody taking a thumb drive and taking it back and forth to the field. The other part is the data compatibility. We have to deal with that, and that's an ongoing thing with us. Currently, we've got some pretty good plans in place as far as how we're dealing with it now. It still causes maybe not quite as much heartburn, but it still causes some. And as we get down the road, and hopefully there's going to be more consolidation, more standardization. Hopefully, if the guys at Ag Gateway and those different organizations that try to get to that point can actually get their arms around it and come up with that, it's going to be a big plus for us. Yeah, it gets into the old KISS motto. I mean, we need to make sure that it's simple, easy to use, and that it does what we need it to do. And that's a challenge for us. The marketplace has a myriad of different companies out there touting different solutions, different things, and if they're all a solution, I've got so many solutions, I'm not sure which one to pick from. Right now we have a blended solution that I would like to get to a single one. Hopefully that's something we can achieve sometime in the future, but right now we have to figure out a way to do what we want to do with what we have to work with. And that includes the rainbow color of equipment we have out there and controllers and telemetry that's there. So that's a big challenge for us. As far as making decisions on that, right now we're trying to locate down to or get ourselves down to at least 2 maybe solutions. Some of the other ones we're looking at, they're more of a universal aftermarket one. If something really rises to the top and it looks like it's a great solution for us, we may start bringing that into the system. But right now we're probably locating very tightly at using Slingshot and those John Deere wireless data transfer, the equipment that are equipped with that. So, yeah, we cover, well, as some of the other people probably said, we cover a very large territory. We go from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, all the way down to middle of Florida, and have a number of locations out there. I'm actually involved now in a vehicle inspection program that we put together, so we're going out to the locations and inspecting vehicles. And currently, we visited just about 200 locations. We have another 20 or 30 or so yet to go. So you can imagine there's more than one vehicle per location, so there's a lot of vehicles in our fleet. Actually knowing what's there and knowing what's running and who's using it is a big plus for us, and that's why something like Network Fleet, which is a fairly economical solution for us, it allows us to track the the vehicles and see their usage patterns, find out if they've been ran in the last month, week, year, whatever. And if we see a machine that hasn't been started in 6 months, well, then we start thinking, hey, what's going on? Is that extra property, or can it be moved somewhere else? And then also other ones that are getting a lot of use, putting a lot of miles on, very fast. At that point, then we can start looking at, rather than waiting to go out or getting somebody to report back to us and say, hey, this machine now has 5,000 hours on it, and it's only 3 years old. We go, what's going on there? Or a machine that only has 500 hours and it's 5 years old, we go, what's going on there? So the telemetry is a big tool for us to allow us to right-size the fleet, because that's a huge thing for us. If you think about the scope of our business and how big we are and the number of equipment we have out in the field, every one of those pieces of equipment is a cost to us, both in owning it, buying it, leasing it, whatever, and also the maintenance and the fuel and everything else that goes in it. So right-sizing that is a big thing for a company our size, because it can actually lower our costs by making sure that we utilize it to the best efficiencies that we can. Now, we're never going to get 100% efficient. That's just never going to happen. But we try to improve in that efficiency in what we see right now. Yeah, the big thing, and I guess what my nirvana is going to be, is that having a telemetry system that allows us to look at the logistics of the vehicles and how they're performing in the field. The other overarching thing over the top of this, which is really the big bubble on it, is that doing a complete analysis of the logistics of that entire fleet. Now, that not only just means the application equipment that we're using, but the tender and the support vehicles that go there, the employees that are running those, the plant itself. Are we right-sizing the plant? What's causing a machine in the field to sit idle? Is it a lack of a tender truck coming there, or is a tender truck going there instead of coming here? All those types of things, and that allows us to right-size the fleet. It could be a situation where We look at it, we need to get more acres covered. Well, we buy more applicators. Well, it isn't the applicators. We already have, machines idling 30-40% of the time. We need more equipment to get the product out to the field, or maybe it's just the drivers themselves. We've got the equipment to transfer the product to the field. We just need extra drivers for that. So that whole thing and that whole analysis is where I'd love to get to, and that's what we're trying to do with using the telemetry and putting it on all of our vehicles, whether it's support vehicles, application, even the sales guys' pickups and that type of thing. Yeah, I think one of the things that we've done is through the use of telemetry is it allowed us to monitor, or not monitor, but just actually analyze the amount of travel time that's involved. Our territory, I grew up in the Midwest where it's all square fields, section fields, 160-acre fields are the common, they're the norm. Here our average size fields range anywhere from 17 to 23 acres, and they're not square, they're not flat, they're not all straight edges on them, and they're spread out because there's an area here that they were able to farm, another area over there. I've got some areas where a machine, it's not uncommon for a couple of months in the summer to have a machine drive anywhere from 50 to 150 miles on a road at 30 miles an hour. Now, 150 miles at 30 miles an hour takes 5 hours. No efficiency in that, none at all. So at that point, we start looking at why is that? And we look at the spreading out of the fields, and that may mean that we have to charge a little bit more for that particular customer because of the fact that it's a little further distance to travel out, or we may have to figure out different ways to route to do that, to cover those acres. So that's one thing that was really an eye-opener for us. Another one was the idle time. We didn't realize how much idle time was going on out in the field. We would see the total hours on a machine and the total acres and say, well, that makes sense, until we actually run the numbers or use the telemetry and find out we're at 17 to 20% efficiency. So whenever the machine is running, it's only working 20% of the time. The rest of the time it's either idling or in transport mode. Very inefficient use of equipment, fuel, cost of labor, all the other stuff that goes along with that. That's been an eye-opener for us. In the industry, typically everybody's running at 30-35%, what I've seen in past jobs. And it surprised me to see us at that level, and that's definitely something that is area for improvement for us and how we can improve that. And now we have the tools to look at it and analyze it. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what's the solution for that.